Great song that is.
Suzy Wrong, Joy Drive's film, TV and theatre reviewer.
Suzy Wrong, how are you going up in Sydney?
I'm really well. Things are looking up in Sydney and New South Wales.
Exactly. I saw today, I think your case numbers were lower than ours for the first time.
Yeah, our case numbers are steadily but slowly dropping, so that's good. And our vaccination rates have exceeded my personal expectations, so I'm pretty happy.
Are you finding that your friends and the mood in Sydney is starting to lift a little bit?
It certainly is. There's a lot more people at the parks. Like, the businesses are still closed, obviously, but I feel like people are really moving around a lot, which was a bit of a worry last week. But our case numbers have been dropping, so it all feels like it's on the up and up.
That's really pleasing to hear, and it's something that we can certainly look forward to. Suzy, today we're talking about Everybody's Talking About Jamie, which is on Amazon Prime. Do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, it's a new musical film. The story takes place in a small English town with a 16-year-old queer high school boy at its center, based on the 2017 stage musical of the same name that was in turn based on the 2011 documentary about Jamie Campbell, who is determined to become a drag queen, not only when he grows up, but also much sooner at his school prom. LGBTQIA viewers will be thankful to know that this isn't another traumatic gay story. There are elements of homophobia being explored, certainly, but it is the changing landscape of acceptance of queer people that is fundamental to the point of the film. It is now the 21st century, and the few who remain unkind to queer people look absolutely prehistoric in the film. The overwhelming support that Jamie gets at home and at school is a new normal, an overdue but very welcome change to our lives. Everybody's Talking About Jamie is predictably sentimental, but it is highly entertaining, with brilliant performances from its young actors, as well as familiar names like Richard E. Grant and Sarah Lancashire. The songs are great in this. I'm very glad that they are not too cheesy schmaltzy, and the way the musical numbers are filmed is really creative and fun. We were meant to have an Australian stage production of the show open last year, but due to COVID, things are postponed, and I, for one, cannot wait to see James Majus, an amazing young black performer in the title role next year, fingers crossed. Warren, I'd be very surprised if you didn't enjoy this one.
No, I did enjoy it. I thought, it was a really good message in there, and that is, don't hide yourself, and if you've got an outgoing personality or whatever sort of personality you've got, pursue your dreams, and in this case, Jamie's dreams of becoming a drag queen. I really loved, and I'd be interested, David and Suzy, if you did too, the dream sequences. You know how he sort of breaks into these songs all of a sudden. Now, sometimes I got a little bit confused because there were a few of them in a row, and I felt like there might have been needed a bit more sort of retelling of the story, but I thought it was really entertaining. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The best part for me was, there's a song, and I think it's called This Was Me, towards the end of the movie, and it's where the drag shop owner goes out and documents the whole struggles that the gay community experience, things like the AIDS crisis, and I think his lover's in there who eventually passes away. I found it really, really touching. I think there was one scene in there, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a birthday cake, and then you see in the news behind Freddie Mercury dying, and you see Princess Diana going around hugging AIDS patients. I found that really touching, and I thought, well, you see, we're talking about drag in an era of RuPaul's Drag Race where perhaps people think, it's a great thing, it's positive, it's entertaining, but this also showed us the history of it and what it was like in the UK for drag performers to come out.
That was such a great segment, and they made it a point for the character Jamie to actually literally say the words, I stand on the shoulders of these people. And I think that was so important and so poignant. And I guess I do worry that people of that generation forget, and it's easy to forget because it was almost the point of it. Like, we went through these struggles so that they don't have to worry about any of this. But you can see that it's important that they know where their freedoms come from so that they don't lose it again.
Exactly. And when you're watching the movie, you feel like, the past grief of our community is there, and it really exposes everyone to this valuable piece of storytelling. David, I'd be interested in what you thought of it.
Yeah, look, I think that theme is
it's an interesting point of time.
Absolutely.
I think that is one of the most
there
important
you go.
things of the actual movie, and it's something that we saw in Tales of the City around about episode 4 and the latest of them, where they recall the past and their history. And I think that's something we're going to see quite a little bit more of if we're fortunate, because it does tell the story and it continues people's motivation to continue battling the fights. Now, this is, of course, Jamie just wants to be a drag queen, and it starts off with as a bit of a daydreamer, but at the same time, people like his mentor Hugo help him make it possible. His mother, who just believes in her son, and I feel that Margaret, in this case, she's almost sort of saying, well, look, I don't want you to do this, but at the same time, I believe so wholly in you as well. And then, of course, he has his best friend, which is Pretty, and she's just wonderful. She's a very unusual character, and certainly not a mainstream character as well. Then there's the arch rivals, of course, which is there's another student, I think his name was Dean, and one of the teachers. There's got to be a little bit of foil in there for the drama, and also his father's not very accepting. His father's constantly saying, I just want to have a son. I don't know about you, Suzy, but I thought 115 minutes, it's just shy of 2 hours, was a little bit long, but it is a beautiful, luxurious movie, and it's well made as well. Do you think it was too long?
I did think that towards the end there, that it sort of went a little bit loose, like it lost a bit of tension. But I think the length, I do understand that there were a lot of things that they really needed to put in there, like, that might not have been the most entertaining things, but they were important things. Like, I think there was a lot of self-awareness about how that character had a lot of narcissism, and they wanted to make sure that we knew that that they were aware of it, because a lot of these young kids and their ambitions, when they want to be performers and all that, it is a narcissistic sort of perspective of their lives, and I'm happy that they took the time to to sort of expand on that and sort of dwell on that, even though it makes the drama a little bit less tight. I think that there were all the important things, but all the important ingredients were in there. We are at an important time, a crucial time, where we are moving from a very difficult time in the past to a future where there's so much more acceptance. And this story that was, basically a story from 10 years ago, this 2011 documentary, where there were still remnants of discrimination, especially from the school bully and then Jamie's father. And I think it's an important point in time, because maybe in 10 years' time, all these horrible people will be gone. So it's interesting to see how we are going to move to the future through this film.
We're chatting to Suzy Wrong about Everybody's Talking About Jamie, which is currently streaming on Amazon Prime.
Look, Max Harwood's performance in the lead role is brilliant. I mean, he's got the self-confidence to play one of the most unapologetically queer characters ever, and I hope that there may be some awards for him. But do you think they've also borrowed a little bit too heavily from the likes of High School Musical and Glee, a little bit of Billy Elliot in a way, or is it just a genre that stands alone and we're going to watch it?
I did feel like it is a very British genre, that sort of Billy Elliot tradition. It's always about the downtrodden, the underdog, and then how they sort of overcome all the challenges, and then it's always a very happy ending. So in that way, it is quite generic and quite sort of prescriptive and predictable, but there are some very beautiful, quiet, nuanced things built into this, which I think makes it a little bit more special.
And my partner loves the accents. The accents are great because they're from Sheffield in the north of England, and the accents really make it as well.
That real working class accent.
Yeah,
absolutely. Suzy, what's our homework for next week?
Next week, we are staying in English high schools. This is this is a show called Sex Education, which is, in my opinion, the best thing to have come out of Netflix. Right. It's a rousing comedy that takes place, like I said, in an English high school where straight people seem to be in a minority. Season 3 has just been released, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts about it.
Oh, seen it already. It is fantastic.
So it's
Isn't it great?
Sex Education. It is on Netflix. We'll talk about that next Wednesday. Suzy Wrong, great to
Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. I'm sorry. I should ask you, when will we see you next? When will we see you next?
I will see you guys next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. You're on Joy
Bye.
Drive.